Hey guys, welcome to the wood shop. It's your old friend Mr. Kern here. I'm excited to get rolling and have another great year with another set of great students. But before we really get rolling on projects, we're going to cover safety, which I know is not the most exciting thing, but it's one of those things that it's important and you got to do it. So I'm going to start by going over general safety, and I'm just going to read through the rules, talk about them, and then we'll move on to machines. So number one, always wear safety glasses when the slightest danger to the eyes exists. Basically, when you come out in the wood shop, you probably ought to have your glasses on. Even if you're not running a machine, what I've found for myself is if I don't have them on and then I get ready to do something, it's sometimes I'm tempted to not get them and just do this thing real quick. So if I have them on already, then I don't have to worry about going and getting them and that sort of thing. So let's just put them on and come out here. Number two, if you don't know how to run a machine or make a certain cut, get help. It's really important to not try and do something, try and figure it out on your own when we're dealing with these kind of hazards. Number three, do not visit with anyone while operating machine, and don't talk to somebody else when they're running a machine. So when we're running a machine, we want to be focused on the machine. We don't want to be chatting it up. We want to have our focus on what's going to cut our finger off. Number four, we're going to turn off the machine and wait for the blade to stop before we leave the machine. We don't want somebody else coming up there and not realizing the blade's still spinning. 5, no running, scuffling, or horseplay allowed in the shop. So it's just that kind of screwing around. Like when you come in here, we need to have a focus and a purpose. We're here to build really awesome stuff. We're not here to screw around. So that sort of behavior, it really makes me mad, especially once we have projects kind of together and put together and stuff. Now you run the risk of not only hurting yourself or somebody else, but screwing up somebody's project they spent the whole year on. Really frustrates me. So no screwing around, basically. Number 6, avoid making unusual noises that may startle the operator. 7, use hand tools and hand tool processes for work on small stock. This takes me back to when I was a senior in high school, and I definitely should have known better. I had the small board for the base of this trophy that I was making. The Golden Spatula Award was what I was making. Anyhow, it's a small piece that still had a rough edge on it. And I just thought, well, I'll just run this through the joiner, and then turned that piece just kind of tipped into there. It was pretty dangerous. My shop teacher came out and he was like, oh, you should know better than that. I should have known better than that. But if there was a small piece of stock, I couldn't run it through the joiner, maybe I just clamp that and use a hand plane. Maybe that gets the job done. So, number 8, don't enter a danger zone of a machine while someone else is using it. An example would be behind on the back side of the joiner. That's a danger zone. The back side of the table saw. Don't be walking across here while somebody's running it. Those sorts of things. Number 9, unless they create more of a hazard, keep all safety guards in their proper position. It's kind of a trick question on the test. When should you use safety guards? You're thinking, always. Well, we don't always use them because sometimes they can obscure or hinder what you're trying to do. Like if I'm trying to rip a little tiny strip and I have the guard on here, the guard's actually going to be in the way. It's going to cause more of a hazard. But so we want to use them unless they create more of a hazard. What are we on? Number 10. If the machine is not operating correctly, making an unusual noise, turn it off and get the instructor. Okay, better be safe than sorry. Number 11. Do not machine wood with nails, screws, paint, loose knots. Somebody ran a wet board through the table saw one time. That was a big mistake. Anyway, so we just need to be aware of what's in the wood and what's on the wood, and make sure we're not gumming up our knives or maybe we're kicking off a dust that's what I want to say, toxic, So anyway, number 12, never hurry when working at a machine. Never hurry. I had an accident one time a while back, there was I needed to make a little notch out of a piece of baseboard, and I didn't have time to clamp it down or anything, and I decided I'd just hold the baseboard and use a chisel at the same time. And I was in a hurry because I wanted to just get this thing done real quick and then I could go home. Well, I ended up, you know, putting the chisel into my finger, and I had to go to the emergency room, get stitches, and it cost me a lot more time than if I would have just got a clamp, you know, and then done it the right way. Never attempt to stop a machine after the power's turned off by applying friction to moving parts. For example, if I turn the saw on and then I turn it off and the blade's spinning and I say, oh, I'm just going to put this push stick into the blade to stop it. Don't do that. What's going to happen? Nothing good. Nothing's good is going to come out of that. Okay, good. Number 14, use only sharp tools. Dull tools are the most dangerous. That's going to be on the test. What are the most dangerous tools? Dull tools. Even on the table saw, we got a real dull blade on there. Now we're having to push harder. So we're putting more force into it. So if something happens, you know, we have more momentum that has to be stopped, basically. Anyway, dull tools, most dangerous. Number 15, clamp down your work whenever possible so that you can use both hands to operate the tool. That kind of goes back to my other example I had. 15 is going to be on the test too. Clamp down your work. What should you do so you have both hands to operate the tool? Clamp down your work. Right, good. 16, on hand power tools that have an adjustment, expose only enough blade to make the cut. It's basically talking about a circular saw, making sure you don't just bring the guard all the way up. Number 17, when tools are not in use, keep them in a safe position. You know, this is safety, but it's also safety for our tools. Like, there's been, you know, several times throughout the years where somebody's had a router and maybe they have a cord running from one table to the other, or they just have it sitting on the edge of the table, and then, you know, something happens and it gets knocked off. So especially on machines and tools, we want to keep them in a safe position when they're not being used. Well, that was it for general safety.